Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's Amira Storm, and welcome to Storm Talks podcast. Finally, by high demand, I have finally launched my podcast and I'm filming. Inshallah, my intentions is to bring positivity and value to all my watchers and viewers, talking real topics with honesty, accountability. We want to live and learn through this podcast, and inshallah, you may benefit from it, and we get better, and you get better, bi'idnillah. And we're going to talk about all topics, not just relating to Islam. We're going to talk about relationships, life, love, being a woman, femininity, and yeah, the list goes on. So, inshallah, you guys enjoy it. Please subscribe, hit the notifications. And yeah, I'm excited. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Storm Talks podcast. Finally, my podcast. I've got my beautiful sisters here with me today. We've got Bint Athens, or would you like to introduce
Assalamu
yourself?
alaikum. I'm Bint Athens. I'm a content creator. I've studied psychology and sociology, and I'm a mother of 3.
MashaAllah. And yourself?
I'm your bestie, Sister Soul. You have met us here already. I met Sister Amira
Yeah.
on the Beach Truth show, and we are back here for a Sister Only, inshallah, podcast. So you have known me on Instagram as Sister Soul and as well the Sister of Medina Paris. So I work in designing modest fashion,
Beautiful
encouraging
pieces.
women for their faith and to embrace it totally, inshallah, and just be happy Muslimah. Inshallah.
MashaAllah.
I mean,
Inshallah. So I just want to say, obviously, myself, I'm Amira Storm UK. I was initially on the Bitter Truth show as well, where I met these ladies, and it was a great experience. And there was a lot of good that came from these episodes. But honestly, meeting sisters, Muslimah sisters,
Yes.
has been so imperative in my life. So especially with, I love Bint Athens content. You have to follow her, and Sister Soul's content. She's strong. She's, resilient. She doesn't care. She's fighting for the cause. She speaks
I
her
think it's a lot
mind.
about being real. I think
Yes,
we come out of
being
these
real.
appearances like you have to be perfect because you're a niqabi or a hijabi.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yes.
You-
And one thing I will say about both of you is the lack of judgment
Yeah.
that you both have is so amazing, because a lot of people will see niqabis or even
Yeah.
hijabis in general and just judge you guys for that and put
And
you
they
on
will
like
be
a higher
scared.
pedestal.
Yeah, it's true.
And like almost
And they be scared that
make
we
you
judge them as well.
Yeah,
you know?
that's exactly
So many
it.
people came to me to say like, oh, we thought you'd be like one of them. I'm like, who?
One
Like,
of
you know, the
who?
niqabis
Yeah.
that judge.
Yes.
Maybe they had a bad experience and I
Yeah.
can't blame them
Yeah,
for
but
that.
I find that we will talk about this on another topic, but I do find that people put Muslims on a high pedestal. As
Yeah.
soon as they
An
see
expectation, yeah.
yes, a hijabi with a woman with hijab or niqab,
Yeah.
they're like,
They assume
she is
loads, don't they?
pious.
Yeah.
Like
She's perfect.
she is Buddha,
Or she's
basically.
like happy. She's
Not
studied,
Buddha maybe,
she's
but
got
you know,
knowledge. Yeah.
she's perfection.
like a monk. It's
Yeah.
almost
Exactly.
like monk status,
Yeah,
but
a
it's
saint.
we're humans at the end of the day. No one is perfect, and I really sense that you always make beautiful content about hijab and how to better the hijab, and I've learnt so much
Thank
from
you.
each of you. So I wanted to bring that forth
Inshallah.
and
Thank you.
have this so that we can benefit others, inshallah, if Allah wills for us to do that.
بإذن الله إن شاء الله.
But I want you to make that dua,
Oh yes.
please.
ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. So Ya Allah, open my chest, ease my mission. يفقه عقدة من لساني. It means like to unknot the knot in my tongue, so they can ease as well as speaking. And that was the dua, I think, of Musa, because he had a stutter.
Yeah.
And يفقه قولي, so they can understand me. And it's not just about understanding, it's about speaking heart to heart, hoping
Yeah.
that the words that I'm speaking are hitting the heart more than the mind.
Yes.
Inshallah. Ameen.
Inshallah.
Ameen.
Ameen. Ameen. So today we're going to discuss marriage and relationships, and basically what we expect from our husbands and what men expect from their wives. So
And the
I
struggles in
yeah
2024 to get married, like the frustration in the
yes
woman's side.
mm-hmm.
We hear it a lot.
Yeah.
Sisters are struggling to get married,
Mm-hmm.
and they are struggling to find the right person. And men's becoming more and more frustrated and critical over like how the women's have changed
Yeah.
and yeah.
And there's
all
this
this.
also this like new movement now, isn't there, amongst
Yeah.
the men, where there is like an alpha push towards like being a man and what it means to
And
be
the
a man in
feminism in
marriage.
our
Yeah.
side, yeah.
So I feel like now there is more of a push of teaching men how to be men
Mm-hmm.
and disregarding actually what the woman wants,
Mhm.
because you know she should be submissive to you regardless. So I think that's been a high move that I've seen in 2023, 2024,
True.
which
Yeah.
might affect marriage, especially this whole notion of getting more than one wife.
Yeah.
That's been the talk, like literally the talk. Everyone's
Always.
talking about it.
Yeah.
And what
Ali Dawah
it
will
does,
agree with
yeah.
us, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
The
Mashallah,
polygamy
so-
topic, mashallah.
So when it comes to what it is being a wife, what would you say it means to be a wife?
I think for me, like what it means to be a wife would be firstly like someone who's a companion, someone that when my husband sees me and is with me, he feels a sense of peace. He feels a sense of security. That I'm someone who is able to comfort him in that time. And obviously take care of him and nurture him. And that would be my main role as his wife. I don't think anything else is important apart from like mother and all the other things that come.
Yeah.
But for just my husband, I'd say the most important thing would be to comfort and to nurture him and not be a source of stress for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, we need to
Well,
talk
that
about
was it.
that because we can be, and
Yeah.
I think that's the you described perfectly. I don't think I need to add anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we wish that men will
Yeah.
expect from us. But I think many sisters are getting married, hoping
Yes.
the same thing from the men, and not understanding they can be themselves the source of peace. And marriage, the aim is not just love, is to bring peace to each other. And this is when you realize so many marriages are not fit. Like, you know, people are not fit together
Yeah.
because they bring everything but peace to each other.
Yeah.
And that should influence the way you choose the person, because the person you love is not always the person that will bring you peace. And we all know that, girls.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're gonna have developed feelings for someone.
Yeah.
It's extremely strong, it's extremely powerful, it's enjoyable, but is it bringing you peace? And I think that's the question the brothers should ask themselves when they get married, and the sisters should ask themselves when they choose someone, and it makes a massive difference.
But do you feel like I feel this is really important. I feel like a lot of us Muslim women go into relationships very unequipped.
Oh yes,
Unequipped to have conversations, to communicate,
organization.
to be able to actually articulate what they want in a relationship and what they want in a marriage. Forget about the material things.
Yeah.
It's about, what do you want from this individual? How do you want them to impact your life? And how do you want this relationship to last for a lifetime? If you're unequipped and you're not able to discuss these things at all,
It's not, I would say,
who would
yeah.
you say is the responsible person for this education? Because it is education for marriage. If marriage is something we need to do, we need to be educated on it.
I think on many matters, you mentioned one of the issues, communication issue and struggles and immaturity. Can we speak about emotional immaturity? You know, like you were asking, like, what does does she know what she wants? You know, that first of all, to disconnect the want from the need. They don't even know because they never asked, because, you know, they just have this sense of like, this is what I want, this is what I love, this is what I'm attracted to. But is it what you need? Like, you know, to become a better person, are you equipped in terms of like mental health? Like, are you balanced enough to be able to manage all this wave of emotion that comes with marriage? We can agree. I think like marriage is a big test when it comes to emotions. You react very often in ways you never thought you will react outside the marriage. Like, but marriage will bring like sometimes the best of you, but as well the worst. And I think we're not prepared for that. We're prepared for the cute Instagrammable videos and pictures. We're not prepared like to wake up every morning, do breakfast and lunch, and sometimes the boldness that comes like with the marriage life. We're not equipped like for it, because we comes from a youth. We want to like travel the world. We have this dreaming world. Like it's all about that, being able to distinguish what you like from what you need, in someone. So yeah, there is all those sorts of immaturity, communication, emotional, and as well. You mentioned, I remember one of the podcasts, and that sticked with me. Are you equipped as well to take care of a house?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the stress is going to bring to you the sense of responsibility. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
I'm not saying
'Cause
like
it's hard,
yeah,
guys.
it's hard. Yeah, can we speak about
It
it?
is.
Like it's hard.
It's so
It's
hard. Like
hard.
motherhood is hood. The
Mm.
hood
It
part
is.
of
It's more
motherhood
hood than
is
mother.
it's very hood, and that comes from my cousin. She
Yeah,
gave me
yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
No,
But
seriously.
honestly, it is not easy. And being in a relationship, for me anyway, like I do believe in sometimes you have to do it to be able to learn. Like,
Yeah, yeah. You have to go through
for
it. Yeah.
example, even when you start a
Yeah.
business, once you start it,
Yeah.
then you realize, oh, I need to do this, I need
I
to
need to
add this,
learn.
Yeah.
or I
I need
need
to
to do
learn
this.
those things.
So that comes naturally in a relationship as well. I think that comes naturally in a marriage where
Does it?
you do, yeah, where you get into a marriage and then you start to learn the person, you live with the person,
But
and
sometimes
you
you.
start to think, okay, well, he's got these needs.
But that's the thing. Some people are not able to differentiate, right?
Thank
They're not
you.
able to say,
Thank you.
oh, they're not aware of the other person.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So like, I can say, oh, my husband, he has this, he wants this. Some people actually only think about themselves.
Yeah, very
So when you go into
self-centered.
marriage, they're not willing to, what's that word? Compromise or sacrifice.
I don't
When it
think
comes to
it's
the
always
person.
a sense of will. Sometimes they're not capable of analyzing.
Yeah.
No one teach them to listen. No one teach them to be aware. Like you said, to compromise. But it doesn't always come from a place of selfishness. Sometimes it comes from a place of not being able to listen to the other person and to emotionally be in challenging situation.
Yeah.
Like,
You know,
when the emotion comes in and
yeah,
you don't analyze things, and when you calm, it's different. You are a different person.
You know what? I can appreciate other people's cultures and religious practices. And one religious practice that the Christians have, and some of my Christian friends who also do this before marriage, is premarital
Yes,
counseling.
counseling.
They have that, and I think it's so important to do this.
They have it in Malaysia,
Like,
I think.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, we need
have a
to
training.
we need to normalize this
Yes.
more, where we sit down with somebody who's professional, who's
Elderly,
able to do it, or elderly,
we
or
don't take enough from people that have 20 years of marriage.
yeah,
They don't just
that's
get married;
true.
they stay
That's
married.
true. Yeah, that's true. But I
Okay,
I do
it's okay. Challenge.
I do agree.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on.
No, I do agree that the elderly have a massive suitcase of wealth, of
Yeah.
like
Wisdom.
knowledge and wisdom and everything. Like,
We're lacking that, Amira.
we are lacking that, and principles. They have a
Yes,
set
values.
of values, principles, and characteristics that is very important and that we lack now. However, I feel like the older generation tolerated more
Yeah.
than what we do, and they tolerate things that I necessarily cannot tolerate now.
I
in
think
this
it was
day and
more like
age.
the men's wisdom, because you can see how patient they were with their wife, how understanding. Not all of them.
Some,
I'm
It
talking
yeah.
about
depends. Yeah, it does
people
depend.
Yeah.
in the marriage counseling, not
Oh yeah,
not your
yeah.
uncle, okay?
Yeah,
Not
no,
like
no.
not family that just handled themselves and stayed together because they had no other choice, and they basically killed them like each other
Yeah.
every day. No, I'm not talking that. I'm talking about
Yeah.
people that have enough experience, enough wisdom, enough skills of communication to communicate it and say like, this is how I stayed with my wife. I was more like, it's more with the men actually than with the sisters.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
more
But,
for
but
me.
don't
like-
you think like the family unit, like being raised in a family unit, whether it's a mum, whether it's a dad, whether it's your siblings, would teach you how to relate to another person? Or
I
like,
was more
I
like
don't
about
think you would need
counseling. I
to be
agree with her.
educated on
Yeah.
marriage to have a successful marriage necessarily. I think you'd need to be aware,
Yeah.
like self-aware. You need to understand. I don't know how to explain it, but like you just need to be aware of other people. I don't think it's something that I need to take a class on, or I feel like it comes with just being a decent
s-
human.
I know,
No,
I
no,
know,
I
but
I don't know
disagree
how to
with you.
explain it in a
some
nice
people
I
way.
disagree.
some people don't do the self work.
Yes,
Like
the self-reflection.
the self-reflection, the self-accountability. Like,
You know
how
that
do you
word?
respond in a
Yes.
state of anger?
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I'll tell you that for free. Like
Anger
I-
management
yeah.
classes. Like, yes.
Or how do you deal with conflict in a marriage? Or how do you, because to be honest, I grew up in a household where my mum and dad, I picked up so many
Yeah.
good things.
Allahumma barik.
Alhamdulillah, like
Yeah,
they
may
were
Allah
good
bless them.
examples, but they had sometimes
yeah.
issues,
Yeah.
but I never saw the working out of those issues.
Oh, right. So you
Or I
didn't
never
learn
saw,
necessarily that,
you don't really learn
Let me
those
put
things
you,
because I'm
yeah,
not in the conversations between my mum and dad in
Yeah.
private all the time. And sometimes you don't see that
yeah,
growing
exactly.
up, you know?
I'm just going to give in the context of what she was saying, and I agree with it, the lack of counseling. For example, you would have a class for brothers, like, like that plan to get married. You give them 3 months of classes or 6 months or whatever they need. And you have sisters classes. Men's can learn basic needs, maybe like how to fix a car. It's silly. Like how are men to be men, how to deal with
They
the
lack
anger,
that so much
how
nowadays.
to explain today the hormones of women. They cycle, and if you see her hungry, like angry at the end of the month, more than usual, it's not you. You're not the issue. It's in the body. She's
Stop
dealing with
taking
a
it
lot. Yeah,
personally,
don't take
yeah.
it personally. The anger management classes, we have so many brothers getting like married with so much anger from life, from brokenness, from childhood, and just like reflecting it on the sister and things like that, explaining how the woman is different from them. And the same are contrary for the sisters, teaching them how the man works, the men's need, because they're not the same than us. And how maybe some tips are how to take care of the house, how to bring peace, how to calm down someone.
Yeah.
They don't, sometimes they come from broken families and very toxic environment. How do you want them to bring someone's peace back?
Like I've seen some women online that was literally say, well, I will never cook. My husband can get me a chef
maid,
or a maid or
I've
whatever.
seen the maid one, yeah.
Well, that was it.
Yeah.
Get me a maid.
Get me a maid, then he said, I'm
I
a maid.
wouldn't mind a maid. I'm not saying that I wouldn't
and
mind.
he said he
a
would
maid.
marry her.
Yeah.
That was a funny one. Okay.
Get me a maid
But
and
here's
I'll
the thing
marry her.
with that issue, like a maid and a chef, if the woman is already used to that lifestyle, the man who she marries has to
he
provide
Has
that
to
lifestyle.
provide. It's true.
So
Very
I think-
Please say
true.
that again for the brothers at the back. Sister
But if she's
Aten.
not used
That
to
is
it, then that's
so
another
true.
issue.
I really agree with that. Like,
And it's
do
a
not
sunnah.
marry
It's a sunnah.
women who are in a good life with their fathers, who are being taken care of, and give them hell. That's not what they
No, or
signed
if you're
up
not
for.
able, or call them
Sorry.
materialistic because you are not able to catch up with their level.
Yeah.
It's the sunnah is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to marry and be able to not break her way of life, because if you bring her from wealth to poverty, that might be extremely difficult for her. I'm not talking about those sisters that we need to talk about that, Amira. The unrealistic expectation of sisters in 2024. Expecting the guy's going to be a gym guy, he's going to have an amazing car, an amazing body, he's going to go to Dubai with them, he's going to bring her Louis Vuitton, please.
Yeah.
And he's going to give her 50K marriage.
Yeah.
Please, sisters,
Yeah.
chill out.
Yeah.
They're
for
just as
real,
broke
to
as
be
you.
honest.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying they're struggling and they're trying their best. And I think, I don't know, like some sisters have like extremely high expectation, and that's their biggest enemy. I'm not talking about realistic expectation, knowing your values. That's the best expectation you want to have, like values. I want someone with values. That's free.
Yeah.
It doesn't
that's
cost
very
anything,
true.
but it's so expensive to find.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to find. And I don't know what you have to say about this. Like,
Me personally, I have said it before. It's good to have expectations.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
good
yeah.
to want goodness. It's good to
Yeah.
want amazing things in your life, but you can build with your partner.
Yeah.
Do not expect, like, I'm not being, I don't want to be rude, but
No, just be honest.
I don't feel like if you're just, the basic Mariam from my land, and you're just now expecting this kind of Prince Charming treatment where this man is just gonna wipe you out of the East London ends, and then you're gonna be
bring you to Buckingham
like,
Palace. Buckingham Palace.
that. Okay, life is meant to be enjoyed. We have a balance. Allah says it in the Quran. We have a balance. Even with giving and all of this stuff in Surah Al-Isra, I believe it says, "Don't be so close-fisted, for you will be, held accountable, and don't be so open-handed, for you will end up in poverty."
Yes, the
So
extreme. You have
there
to be
is
balanced.
always
Yeah.
an extreme. There's always, we have to be balanced. But to really be that person where you're just like wanting the world all the time.
When you end that,
But
I'm sorry,
that's
Amira.
all
Sometimes
you're looking for, though. You're not trying to develop on yourself.
Yeah.
Your life is chaotic all the time. You don't know how to manage a
but
household.
Amira,
You don't know how to do any of these
you want
things.
someone to have compassion with your flaws, and or with your negligence, or with the things that you don't have, but you're not ready to be compassionate with the man that comes with. I'm not talking about toxic behavior. I'm not talking about with anger. I'm saying like with things that maybe he wasn't blessed with, or maybe he wasn't privileged. Sometimes I see even sisters. I'm not talking about physical, but wanting like a 10.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you a 10? Like, no. Sometimes, no, but sometimes we have to be realistic. And I had to say that to myself. I had to say that to myself and be very
No,
honest.
it's the truth, though. It is the truth. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you think you're beautiful, more power to you. That is amazing. We are beautiful, and for
but
me
he
personally,
wants a 10 too,
some people will be in the comments saying, "Oh, she's big," or she's, look at the
and
size
yet
of her.
beautiful,
And so
mashallah.
the hell what? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not here for you. I'm here for the person that Allah chose for me at the end of the day. And I know my worth. I know what I bring to the table, and I know that at the end of the day, I'm gonna try to work together with my partner to have a better life. I'm sure I know you're doing the same thing. Like, I know you're probably working with your husband, trying to offer him ease as well. And this is what we're lacking, like togetherness.
I think, Amira, on both sides, we're lacking compassion. Brothers are not compassionate with their sisters and their future partners. They're extremely critical. They're extremely needy. And sisters are doing exactly the same. We are going through a disconnection, a lot of anger on both parts. You see it, with the men's podcast and the way they speak about women, with the red pill influence, and the feminist sisters. Let's not forget about them. I like to balance
That's true.
I like accountability on both sides. There is a disconnection.
That's true. Like, but even expectation wise, I think you said you did a video on it actually on TikTok of that list of, was it 27?
It was 29. Yeah, the brother had a list of 29 conditions, didn't he?
29 conditions.
Deal breakers,
or deal breakers.
He must be a 10.
So
no?
What is your okay? I know you're already married, so we don't have that. But still, what would be an ick or deal breaker for you?
See, with me, I didn't really have a list. Like, I just had the basic requirements of what a man should be like. He should be caring. He should be. But now you look at the women; they have a huge list. Even the men, they have a huge list. And I think the main problem of this is influence, right? We live in a world where we're influenced by everything around us, right? We have a lot of ideologies, a lot of we just log on an app and we already see the lives of like 100 people, and we see how they are with their partners.
As well.
So like we automatically, whether we like it or not, have this like expectation in our heads without realizing it. So when we are now looking for a future spouse, we say, oh, you know what? Or maybe I want him to travel the world with me. Where did this expectation come from? Prior to that.
I want to go to Dubai. I don't know why.
This expectation of traveling the world.
I'm sorry, I never went to Dubai. I'm not interested in Dubai, but I'm just saying, like, it becomes an expectation.
And you don't know it. It just
don't
comes
even realize,
out of the fact that you were being influenced constantly. Just by leaving our house, we see billboards, right? We see magazines, we see adverts. And I think the most important thing is to be able to differentiate these influences from what we want. What do I want as a person?
What do I need?
What are my influence to believe?
And how is your deen influencing you rather than the grand scheme of things? Because like now I just think about it, like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at some point he had nothing. Literally, he was shared dates with his wives. How many women of today would stay with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him?
That's the thing.
It's a big...
one of the points. Like, we expect someone to be, mashallah, the brother, he's got it all covered. Did you? Like, do you? Because maybe he wants the same as well. And sometimes our expectations are so high, we don't understand the test that comes with it. When you want someone very rich, be ready that he's going to attract a lot of people. Are you ready for that type of life? Or he's going to be extremely busy. He's not going to have time for you. You want someone with a lot of knowledge. Are you sure you are up to the game? Like, in terms of maybe ibadah and ilm and practice and life. It's kind of hard. If you have been the wife of a alim or of a sheikh, you will know. It's a very difficult life. And that goes with everything. You want a businessman? Are you sure like you're up for the game? And I think that's the questions we want the appearance, but we don't get deep into like.
Yeah, exactly that. I do find it so I'm guilty of it. I'm sure we all are guilty
Yeah,
of
we are
it,
in some, yeah.
where you do want more sometimes, or you are expecting, but when you look back, and this is why our deen is so beautiful, because we can reflect on ourselves and we can look back and be like, okay, am I being ungrateful here?
Yeah.
Am I being
Yeah.
too much? Like, what is it that I'm expecting from this life, from this dunya? What am I going to take from it, really? What is going to go back to the grave? Because a lot of people forget that, look, you are married to this person.
For a reason, yeah,
SubhanAllah,
yeah.
we all have our own time. I don't know when I'm gonna die. I don't know when
Yeah.
my husband is gonna die, and you're chasing and running and running and running after this life, and then what? Like, what happens after that? I don't.
And I think, Amira, we forgot why we're getting married.
Yeah.
We forgot that we are support to each other. We are bringing peace, but we are encouraging each other for Jannah. I know it seems like we are talking so much about love. We don't even know what is love. We don't even know what is a real love and what is healthy and what is not healthy.
Yeah.
We don't know, because we are chasing a feeling. We are chasing maybe because we are purposeless, and we are trying to use the man or the love of the marriage to fulfill something that only you can fulfill, or only Allah Azza wa Jalla can fulfill.
Yeah,
And the
literally.
fact that we are lacking of this taqwa, we're forgetting what is our mission on earth. Why are we getting with someone? If you're not easing my path to Jannah, I'm sorry, that's not going to do it.
It's true.
Because it's already so hard on your own.
Yeah.
If I'm bringing someone in my journey, it's either I'm easing your journey to Allah, or you easing my journey to Allah, but you're not making it harder.
Yeah.
That's definitely.
Well, sometimes there is that
Do you know
Don't
what I'm
drag
saying?
me to hell.
Exactly.
sometimes there is that hardship. No, like if your partner does fall, you have to kind of be their support to help them get
It's a
back up.
test.
Yeah, but at the time
Yeah.
before, he was a support for you.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, sometime from the get-go, you know that this person, you're going to have to hold them on your back. And you're a woman. That's not, I'm not saying that,
That's a good point.
honestly,
Because I feel like
you become the pressure in
women
the house.
are losing their role as
Femininity.
well. Yeah, they are losing their femininity.
And we are becoming a lot more masculine.
Yeah. What would you say is your deal breakers for a husband?
Oh, that is very difficult. I think for me, it's a lot about the energy. We have to connect spiritually, emotionally, and even the sense of humor. For me, it's a very important fact. It's silly, but it's about bringing joy and peace to each other, and it's about emotional maturity for me, spiritually and emotionally. And I don't need someone to be extremely rich. That doesn't fulfill me. Like, maybe, yes, they have to cover obviously the cost and be providers, but I don't have much expectation like on that, because I went through a life when I had like good times, and it didn't bring me like anything. So it's more about what are you going to do for my Jannah? I know it's the most generous gift that someone can give you, to invest his time for you to get to Jannah. I know it seems like very shallow to say that, maybe.
No, it's not actually.
but it's about that, like. And to be honest, sometimes, Amira, I had to question myself: am I going to make his Jannah easy? Like, or am I going to be like
I'm
a struggle?
A test as well.
Exactly.
I don't want to
can
be a fitna.
Do you understand? Sometimes I had to say no to situation, even if I like the brother, is because I didn't think I was up for the game, and it was out of generosity and out of like, I don't think I'm going to be helping you in that journey, because maybe of the limitation. But like they talk about 5 language of love. And what about if I'm the 5, all of them? Like, it's true. I hate that test. Like, I don't like when people say like, what is your love language? What are you talking about? I'm all of them. Like, I like the words. I like, I like everything. I like the gift as well, even though it's the last one on my list when I did the test. But I don't like to be categorized, because we all want a bit of everything, but we have different needs. We have different journey. And I don't think I can point like, what do I need? It's what Allah Azza wa Jalla think is good for me.
Yeah.
But when you trust Allah and when you distinguish your needs from I want, I need.
Yeah.
Trust me, you make completely different choice in terms of
because we
men.
can want a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that shahwa and that nafs,
Passion,
the desires of the dunya, like those can go you can want all day long. But it's like, what do you need? And I feel like, subhanallah, we've got such beautiful examples at the moment, even though it's such a atrocity what's happening in Palestine. At least we can see like we can compare our lives almost,
and feel blessed.
It's a disgusting feeling,
Yes.
but
I feel like we've been
it
really
brings you
ungrateful.
back.
Like when you actually see that,
Yeah.
and you see like what do you complain about on a day to day, you
Mhm.
actually feel like, you know what, I'm really ungrateful.
I'm so
Even like
ungrateful.
ungrateful to your partner, ungrateful to your mom, your dad.
Yeah.
And I think
And
it
to what
puts
Allah
every,
gave
yeah,
you.
Yeah, because when you watch them and you see like what they're going through on a day-to-day basis, it's not like they never had their lives. They had their
They
homes,
had everything.
they had their lives, they had their
Alhamdulillah. They had
relationships.
peace.
Imagine having to navigate a relationship in that
Yeah.
scenario. Like how would your partner be in that scenario? And the person you're looking for, will that person be help you to survive
I
in
feel
that?
like in today's
you
day and
know?
age, people are not even able to cope with like basic things.
Yeah.
Basic
We're
things.
weak.
I really
We're
like-
mentally weak.
I really like what
Definitely.
the American girl said. She said, is there something like you didn't see there in Gaza? Is people fighting for food. We fought for toilet paper.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? You want to criticize people and civilization?
It's true.
She said, I saw people sharing the GoFundMe of others, of neighbors, of family. You see them, they were never greedy, like fighting for the food. And they had the right to, because they were
They're
like dying.
starving.
They were
They're
starving.
starving.
And well, she made the reflection. I was like, she said, we will be fighting. We fought for toilet paper not a long time ago, physically. Imagine what we do if it was us, like in terms of water and food, and how we make us like nasty. And the only thing you see, gratefulness,
Yeah.
gratitude. I only heard the word alhamdulillah. I'm not saying that they are perfect. They are struggling just like us. But this Gaza situation, Allah has brought it for such a sign for us, the believers,
it is.
even to the non-believers.
It
He makes
is.
all your tests easier. You're thinking, you know what? I don't have this today. I'm struggling with that. But what is it compared to them?
Yeah.
It's
I
always a
find myself
constant
doing
reminder.
that, to be honest.
Every
like
day.
even if I'm about to really complain about something or whatever, or I have complained about it, like I will reflect, or I'll go on my phone and just be humbled straight away. And I shouldn't
Constant
need
reminder.
to see that to humble myself straight away.
Insan
But
yinsa.
yeah,
The human forgets. Insan yinsa.
yeah,
The root of it is to
insan,
forget.
yeah,
That's why it
true.
needs to be constant reminders.
Yeah.
And few, we were very connected to our deen. We wouldn't need those reminders, but we know.
It's true.
And the Gaza, we are reminding us of what is
Yes.
resilience,
Yeah.
what is gratitude,
Yeah,
what is sabr.
definitely. And I've what I find with I know it's going to that, but what I find is I've seen husbands in Gaza, how gentle and soft and compassionate, and although they're in such a stressful situation, how they still treat their wives. You know, they're still carrying the kids on their backs, and they're still dragging their wives with them, and they're still trying to survive. And
Finding food.
Us now, like, I'm sorry to say, but men really lack that compassion and that care and that love today. I
watched
that.
a sheikh this morning. I don't remember the name. He said that the reason why we become distant from, like, you know, Islam is because of the pleasures and the comfort that we have around us.
Yeah.
They kind of divert us from like having, what's that, like having being grateful, right? The reason why we're distracted from all of these things is because of the lifestyles we live, the comfort that we have. You know, the fact that when we go into our homes, we can open a fridge and we can eat, we can sit on a bed and we have a mattress. All of these comforts actually divert you from, you know, Iman, from Allah.
It's like lifestyle luxuries. It's a luxury.
Everything,
we don't forget how we are.
I think we're
so
realizing
rich.
now. I think
we're so rich. We're so wealthy. Like, to be able to just go down the shop or open the fridge, that's a luxury
just to have
to
peace,
some people.
Amira.
Yeah, or to
Just
even
to
have
have
peace. Like, I feel like, you know, and unfortunately, I am going to bring a dilemma. Like, one of the sisters who has reached out to me, I won't mention any names or anything like that, but we do have brothers out here who are not ready for marriage. They should not be in a marriage. They are violent or aggressive, or, you know, they just don't have any of the tools, to be husbands.
Good way to put it.
You know,
you're very
nothing.
kind the way you put
it.
Very
Kind.
true.
But it's
but
to
it's
the
true
point where
because,
where's their community? Where is the community?
Where's the men that set them straight?
Exactly. Instead of sitting on podcasts ultra focused on women and how they, you know,
how
should
they
wear a
this or,
jacket or shouldn't wear a jacket on top of their
I forgot about that.
abayas. why are you not patterning these men?
Yeah.
Why are you not setting these men straight? And why do I not see courses of how to be a good husband? There's always courses on
Yeah.
But
how to get
Alpha,
rich, or let's
Alpha,
Yeah.
do this, or
Alpha.
alpha male. And
Why no
Alpha
one
male,
talks
what's
about
yeah.
how
that
to be
got
a
to
good
Because
do?
I
husband?
don't think
Yeah.
I've seen a topic on domestic abuse, like as in
No,
inside
none.
men.
And we have to cover that.
Why
We
haven't
have to cover
any
that.
of the Muslim brothers done a podcast on abuse?
How to be a good father, how to
I've
be a
not
good
seen
husband.
one. That's a
I
very good
heard like
point.
how to be a good man,
Because
or
it
like
does
an
come back
alpha
to
man.
the topic
Yeah.
of
Comes from
ghira.
strength.
Yeah.
Ghira, right?
Yeah.
They talk about
Exactly.
ghira, a man should have ghira over his wife when it comes to the way she dresses, right? You should be protective over that. But like, if you see a woman, and a hijabi woman walking down the road, she's got a fat bruise on her face,
Yeah.
or she's got like, I don't know, she's got like a plaster or something. As a man, would you not be like, what's that word?
Concerned
Have some
for your
like ghira for the
sister.
women, yeah.
No,
Like,
For
the
your
ghira, I
sister.
think is the word.
Yeah, ghira.
and this
all-
ghira is
yeah.
not just for
It's
your
not just-
wife;
yeah,
it's
yes.
for the Muslim women around you, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
but the right
Because you're
ghira,
forgetting we are your sisters
Yeah,
in
true.
Islam.
Yeah.
So you need to care for me, not just because I'm not your blood sister. You need to care for me
So
like
like if
I
he
am.
sees you in the street and someone is like verbally abusing you, he needs to step in.
You
So
need to
that's
step
the kind I'm
in.
talking about.
Why
Not
are you not
that's the
literal.
real
stepping
ghira.
in?
That's
Yeah,
not the
not
one
literal
because
like
you see a non-hijabi and you're like, oh, why she's doing this? No,
Yeah.
how my sister is doing. That's the
Yeah.
mashallah, the ghira that you brought up. But I think like one of the things that really, really like I'm concerned about, and every time I go to a podcast or speak to brothers, I always bring it out, and that's reminding them, are you رجال قوم على النساء? Are you? So you are the root of whatever issue there is. The better the men are,
Exactly. Thank
the
you.
better
I
the
agree with
woman will
that.
be.
Sorry.
yeah, I
The
think I
more
did hear
men,
that being
the
said.
more
Yeah.
it's an equation that Allah Azza wa
Yeah.
Jalla created.
I agree
In
with
terms
it.
of like, that's why women are losing their femininity, they're becoming masculine because our brothers are less
Because they have to fulfill
masculine.
that role,
Yeah.
don't they?
They haven't fulfilled it. And then they complain that the women are becoming more masculine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's no leadership.
There is no leadership. And
Where is
leadership
the
doesn't come
leaders?
just with like hitting your wife
No.
or telling her like, don't go there, don't wear this. No, no, no. Leadership is to be able to convince someone that this choice, this decision is healthier than the other one maybe she was about to take. And it's about leading with care and rahmah, just like the Prophet ﷺ. He had a sense of security. He knew what he was doing. He knew why he was doing it.
Yeah.
And he knew he was doing it for your khair. And that translated in the way he was speaking to you and communicating with you.
Yeah.
And I think that today, the issues we have with women, men, accept it or not, you are the region of Nisa, is because your issues have created
Yeah.
other issues.
Yeah.
When you have
Definitely.
PS4 generation, that's how I call them. I'm sorry, PS4 generation,
It is PS4
it took
generation.
them away
Yeah.
from their manhood.
Yeah.
Wallahi, we don't see.
But do you see now that they're claiming to kind of go back to that, like this whole movement of alpha male, right? Are they
Yeah.
not trying to go back to
Yeah,
that?
they are, but they're doing it
What
in
is
a
the
way that is
problem?
away from
now?
the deen, though.
Yeah.
They're doing
Because
it
it's like
without seeing they are the root of the issue.
Yeah.
They're
I
doing
wanna-
it by blaming women, not seeing like, how did we
Yeah.
get there in the
Yeah.
first place? Where were we as men? Maybe Allah Azza wa Jalla, you know, like I listened to Sheikh Shadid Muhammad, for the one that knows him. He did a reminder very good about how Allah is like the day and the night. He gives the power to a group of people and then he removes it from them.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happened with men. They used to have a lot of power. A lot of them in our community, Amira, in your community, my sister, they have abused it
Yeah.
to the point they made women frustrated. They didn't make them like happy and protective, like you're gonna have like in the Emirates, in Saudi, where the women are very kind of spoiled, you know. They barely cook, but they are very protected.
But
They
would you
knew
say
the-
men are responsible for making women masculine? Or would you say that's more the ideologies that were being fed in today's
both?
in the
I
West?
think both.
Because I feel like
play
both
the role.
influence.
I think
Yes.
both. I think men
Yeah.
nowadays don't want to do hard work. I think men want to be soft. I think men want
They want to
soft
be
life.
taken care of.
Men don't want to work too hard. Men just want to have soft life as well. So the way women want soft life, men want the same thing. Men don't want to work too hard. Like you have you have that show, Not So Fresh and Fit.
Fresh and Fit
Fresh
podcast,
and Fit
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
And actually Mohammed Hijab went on there.
Did he go? Did he go all the way there? Or was it like
No, it was
on
like
live?
a
Oh, okay.
online kind of thing. And I thought Mohammed Hijab hit, you know, the nail on the head, because he was like, actually, manhood is about bravery. It's about being courageous. It's about all
More
of
than
these
the
things.
woman.
It's about all of these things. And these men have like a guide, you know, and the guy from Fresh and Fit was just like, yeah, we watched this guide and we watched this and stuff. But it's like, then you're submitting your livelihood on another man's point of view, not on God's point of
Or
view,
not
or
on the
not on,
prophet.
not on the guidance that we have from Islam.
But do you think women will listen to men today?
That's
like,
a very
do you
good
actually
point
think
you
they would
made.
listen?
I don't think they have that too.
Yeah.
I don't think women, even they cross the path of a good man, they are so angry, they are so resentful.
It's like a gender war, isn't it? It's
Exactly.
a current gender war between men
I
and
think
women.
it's as well a reactivity, like a reaction, like just like Red Pill is a reactive movement because he reacted to the feminism. I think the feminism was as well a reaction maybe of maybe men's abusing maybe a bit the power. But the issue now is with the sisters abusing the power.
I just
The
want to
women,
put this
generally
out there
speaking,
quickly,
yeah.
because this feminist movement, firstly, feminism was not created, well, for women of color. It was not created for us.
Privileged
It
women,
wasn't created by us, nor was it created for us. So you can't follow a movement that was not created for you,
Adapted to
love.
you,
Like, it's not for you. It's not a movement that was created for you. And so you cannot relate. You're trying to adapt your lifestyle to something
And what does
that
it mean
was
to
not.
be feminist today when you think about it?
Yeah.
Does it mean to be masculine?
Yeah,
There is nothing
that's
less
all I
feminine than
see. I see like being feminist means to hate men. That's all I see.
and to lose your
It's the hate
femininity
of men.
and to lose your femininity. And
Yeah.
we're
And
not
also,
talking
it's the
femininity.
blur of gender, right? It's the blur
exactly.
Storm's Body Melts. It's a body butter made by me, and it's sponsoring the show today. And it is 100% natural. It smells amazing. Obviously, if you know me, you know I love my scents, and I've created the perfect formulation, the perfect cream. All the butters are imported from Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso, so it's 100% natural and reasonably and ethically sourced, suitable for vegans. Try it out. You can go on their Instagram. It's Storm's Body Melts, and get yours, inshallah.
Well, a man can do whatever he wants and a woman can do whatever. It's not
Whatever she
related to your
wants.
gender.
But you see, you said a point before when you said like the men's now they want a soft life. You see how we complain from a generation of women that become feminists because they wanted the same thing than men had. Now the men want the same thing than women. They want softness, they want emotion, they want learning.
And it's because
They
they're
want, like-
reacting to it, right? They're reacting to, you say,
think
now
they're
you want to
copying.
work. Well, okay, then I'll sit back. You work. What's the issue? You want 50-50, I'll go 50-50. So I think they're just playing them at their own game.
But in the same time, you have sisters wanting 50-50, wanting 100, but then they don't want to submit because they're scared of the word. They don't want to listen. They don't want the leadership that comes from someone that covers all you need, that takes care of you from A to Z.
Yeah, but
That comes with,
So do you think it's fair, like, for example, if a man is completely covering all of your bills, all of the responsibility, but his requirements is you just stay at home, you look
Was
after
this
the
before
kids?
marriage, or was this in during like marriage? Like, was this be a requirement before or in?
Yeah, before and in. Before and in. Like,
I don't
that's
see the
his
difference.
requirements. Like, he's like, you.
No, but
You
because
do not
before you
work,
can
you
leave.
don't
Come
do
and get my
anything.
number. I don't mind. I don't mind.
No, but before
Because I
you
think
do-
that's
Are
the
you
balance.
sure though? Because I think let's be real, let's be honest. If your husband's like, you need to be off the grid, I don't want to even hear you. Not even see. We don't want to see or hear any of it. Like,
I think there is a
you
level. I
have
don't
to
think you
just
have
be
like
my
this.
wife. Because for me personally, I'm creative. I'm quite a creative person. I can't just be the ghost that never
It doesn't
existed.
mean being a ghost.
No, but what if a man wants that from you? What if he's like, I don't want you on Instagram, social media. I don't want your opinion. I don't want
Honestly,
nothing from you.
If
Sit
it's
down.
worth it, I'm off Instagram. If it's worth it, because it's going to definitely bring me more than what Instagram would ever bring me. If it's able to bring me peace, contentment, communication, like, knowledge or whatever it is, off Instagram. I have
But
learned
then,
that quite a while ago now. I'm
but what
very
do you do
detached from
then?
it.
What do you do then if you want to
Oh,
express your creative side?
even if I do it between women, I will find a way. If you do it for the sake of Allah and not just your husband, Allah Azza wa Jalla will find a way for you to bring that
Yes, I agree
creativity,
with that.
you know,
I agree with that.
to your girls, like, you know, and
100%.
to your sisters. Or
Yeah, I
you have to
agree.
trust if the man wants good and his real mean of protection is not being toxic, it's just being protective. We will find ways like to
Yeah.
work around it. That's as long as he's Islamic and as long as like he's doing his job, I'm doing my job. I think women, that's the big struggle,
No,
Amira. And I
I
had to
agree with that.
question. I
I
had
do agree
to,
that Allah will make a way,
he will make
and
a way,
I will say that.
inshallah, inshallah.
What about you?
I think this is why I said there's a difference. Like before, you have the right to walk away, right? If you don't want
Yes,
that. But
Okay.
in marriage, it's a bit different because now you've selected this guy as your
committed.
kind of protector and your leader, right? So the decisions that now he makes, you kind of have to, whether not, I don't know how to say it in a nice way, but you kind of have to go along with it because you've chosen this guy.
It's
So
true.
like if he was to say to you tomorrow, I don't want you on socials, well, you could
But
talk to him about it,
yeah,
but ultimately the decision is his, right? But if you weren't married, you can walk away.
but it has to be
Yeah.
worth it. And you would have asked me the question 5 years ago. I would have said, no way. It's because I walked the journey,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
of seeing whatever is essential and the struggle, like, you know, of maybe singleness or whatever it is, and the difficulty of finding a good man with who you can connect and who you can progress. If he's invested in me, I'm invested with you. Like, no, you know,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
There is no price too high in a proportionate way, like in an acceptable manner. Anything that is Islamic, if a man comes to you with Islamic demands that make sense and he argue around it, he has a sense of balance. He's not
Yeah.
an extremist. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to close you inside a box because he has a big sense of insecurity. No, we're talking about a man that wants his wife protected. He doesn't want other men to be looking or listening to. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. If you're
Yeah.
bringing everything, if you're fulfilling me, I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
But I had to walk the journey, you know.
To
And
be
some
honest,
sisters like
if my husband was like lock off the whole thing,
be
I
difficult.
would, because I did ask him if I
Okay.
could do this, like, and it's
Mashallah, that's good.
not like just me picking up and just doing what the hell I want. No, I did
But you
discuss
have
it, and if he
consideration.
was completely uncomfortable with it,
Yeah.
it would be locked off. Like, I would lock it off. It
Mm.
would be hard for me, especially like Instagram and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I
That would be
understand.
hard for me because I
But
do
you have
have a
only
community
always a
on
way,
there.
yeah.
So, and I like to express myself in
Yeah.
different ways, but I would also want that understanding from him. You
I
know,
think
like,
as well, it depends as well if the man understands you and he knows you, he knows your
Yeah.
limits, he knows he can trust you. They might not have the same behave with someone else that they know like they can go a bit off the grid. So they like, I feel less in trust. So I have to put more like maybe barriers, or I don't know how to call them, more limitations
Yeah.
than maybe with someone. She's got integrity, she's got knowledge, she's got fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. She knows what she's doing and she's not messing around. So
Yeah.
it depends as well who you're dealing with. Same for the men's.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're gonna feel like you are more jealous in certain situation because you know that the man, he's not like very strict with certain rules. Then with someone else, you're gonna feel like in trust because you know he feels Allah at all times, and you know
Yeah,
it's gonna be,
definitely.
it's about adaptability as well.
I will say, just to add, because I didn't give my deal breakers.
Oh yes,
So for me, bad breath is a deal breaker.
but there is toothpaste for
Bad
that.
body odor. No, there's some toothpaste can't solve that problem. Sometimes
You go to
it's
the dentist.
inside of the gut. You know,
Okay.
sometimes it's
But how
It's
would
the
you assess
soul.
that like
it's
before? Would you get him?
halitosis. Oh, I think
Because these things come like in the marriage, right? You find out about a person when
No,
you're
You know, it
having
happened
sex.
to
See,
one
this
of my
is very
friends.
important. Actually, that's a good
Wallahi, it
point.
happened
You
to one
have
of
to
my
smell the
friends.
breath before the marriage.
No, it
I'm
was
so
about
sorry. I
body
don't know how
odors.
we do it, but we're gonna have to do it. Like,
No, I know, like one of my friends, and it never crossed my mind because it never happened to me. She said like she got married, and the body odor was so bad. It was a complete. Wallahi, I never thought about it. You know, when she started to speak about it, I started to laugh. But she said like our marriage
But I think can you
started on
get a
the wrong.
divorce for that? I don't know.
oh, I'm
Maybe she
sorry.
should
get it if
have.
you're
It will
not-
affect every other
No,
thing.
even the intimacy was completely
Intimacy, yes,
infected.
I know you can get
affected. So the man was angry with
that. But
her.
aren't these solvable things? These are things that you can solve, no?
No, some people, honestly, some people have
Some people it's
serious
just like
issues.
a like.
Like, okay, yeah, there you can solve it, but for me,
It's a deal breaker.
I'm very weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a
Very
weak.
I'm fragile.
I'm fragile. I've got a weak stomach. I can't do it. Like if his breath was just
Reeks.
completely,
Yeah.
I just physically,
You'd vomit.
I couldn't
Sweetheart,
do it. I would
Monday,
actually-
dentist, appointment at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, dentist. If it's
Or we're
not
going
the
to the
teeth
imam.
and it's just in the throat, it's halitosis, it's giving. I just can't. I can't do it at all. I just can't do it. So that would be a deal breaker for me.
But it's true, there are things we don't think about.
Yeah,
Right?
that is a big thing.
Even on the sister side, like if she's got a, maybe there are things that should be mentioned. If you have like
Yeah.
a specific issue and you're aware about and you're hiding it, well, I don't get this.
There's
It's
certain things I
surprise!
do want to
It's
mention,
surprise.
obviously, but it's just too.
I don't think
No,
we're
I want to hear
ready.
your list now. I want to hear.
Now I
Bad breath
want to
was
know
number
it
one.
now.
I
Now
want to hear the rest.
I want to know the second one.
I do think there's so
People that are tight with money.
oh
La
yeah,
hawla wala
if you're
quwwata illa billah.
stingy, there's no way we
Stingy,
can't
I don't know how
work
you say
together.
it. Avare, we say in
Yeah,
French.
avare.
No, I
Yeah, I
can't.
can't do it.
Mzayyab, like we say in Arabic.
Yeah, literally, you're just greedy
Yeah,
or
greedy.
stingy or selfish, like just pure selfish. I can't deal with that.
That's a deal breaker.
Bad
yeah.
body odor, bad breath.
But that is
just
resolvable, more like.
I don't
Stingy is
know.
not resolvable. But
No,
bad breath
exactly.
is,
I believe
yeah.
that. Stingy
Oh.
is harder to deal with than body odors.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't
It depends on
know.
the
A
person.
good
like
body
you say.
gel.
It
Yeah, I
depends,
think
yeah.
it
Yeah.
body gel and liquid chlorophyll. You have to sort that from the inside. The brush. Yeah. And hammam.
Exactly.
You have to
But
go to the hammam.
it's not like it's not something that is not like resolvable at all.
Well, that's hygiene, right?
I just
Links
wouldn't
to
get married
hygiene.
to the person,
Yeah,
to be
okay.
honest. But that's
That's
the
good.
thing. So how do
Yeah.
you know if somebody's breath?
When you meet
You said
in
get-
can you say
Muqabbala,
assalamu
But then
alaikum?
what if that in that moment? You guys are not serious.
okay.
Sorry.
Did you get him to breathe on you? Or what? What are you saying?
And
He has to like really say
I can't imagine
or
that
put
Assalamu
black
alaikum.
pepper like around him when he sits, so he's gonna do achum and everything like. But at least you know. At least you're
Yeah.
fixated. You know, if that's a
No.
big issue.
No, definitely. But because we're coming towards the end of this
Yeah,
this
episode.
episode, I just want to bring up this dilemma of
mm.
this lady who basically says she's married to this man for 5 years. He's been abusing her, kicking her, spitting at her. She has a little girl who witnesses this. He likes pictures of
Of the
women on
women.
Instagram with like nakedness and all of this stuff.
Oh, lovely.
And you know, he doesn't contribute to the child, he doesn't contribute to nothing,
So what
paying
does
the
he do
bills.
as a man,
He's
as a
just
husband?
there being abusive, really. And he's quite controlling and all of these things. And like you said before, there's not any podcast talking about men that
Abuse.
do
Domestic
this,
abuse
and
and-
it's not highlighted enough. There's not
And it's
enough
like they're protecting a bit
shame.
each other. The fact that they're not. I don't
Yeah.
think they
Yeah.
think it's that of a big issue
Yeah.
because otherwise it would have been mentioned.
Honor abuse is
Yeah.
actually a very big issue. Honor abuse
Yeah.
specifically, like this thing that women have their honor, the honor of the woman is attached to the family,
Yeah.
the men around her. So honor abuse is a big thing, and so is domestic abuse. I find like we don't really know much about these things, and they're not speaking about it. But it is a very, very like
Yeah.
it
So
controls
men
the
are
women
not
a lot.
prepared. We
I
go back
just-
to the counselling.
Yeah, counseling.
Men
But
are
I
going
think
to
there needs to be
marriages.
more shame
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
communities.
Yeah.
We need to shame these men more. You like to shame simps
Yeah.
for being too nice
Oh,
to
they
women.
like to
Women,
But
shame
what
for a
about the
jacket on a
shame
hijab, please.
for men who are horrible to women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to start highlighting these men. It needs to be a zero tolerance.
I don't think
And
they
I will
understand.
be listing
yeah.
some domestic abuse sources in the description below.
And we can speak about
for
it.
anyone who is dealing with this and who can speak about it. You can reach out to sisters, but what do you do in that situation? What do you do? Like, do you
My first
divorce or-
question, obviously, I always want to have
Yeah.
the men version. You know me. I like to
Yeah.
have both side version. But the first question is, where's the wali? Where's the wali al-amr? Where's the father? Where's the brother of the sister? Where's her?
But
Oh,
maybe
she
they
did
don't
say
know.
Amr.
she did
That's
say
the
that
thing.
he's disrespectful to her mum.
Oh.
Her
Yeah, but
father passed away.
That's why.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
I can sense situation when there is not a man involved in the
Yeah,
situation
yeah.
on her side.
Oops, sorry.
Because this wouldn't be happening. Trust
Yeah.
me. If she had big brothers, if she had a strong father,
But
But
it
she
some
shouldn't
wouldn't
people,
be
be.
some people
that.
keep it private. So what happens in the
Sometimes,
home, even if
sometimes,
a woman's getting beaten up, the brothers might not know.
yeah,
The dad might not
yeah.
know. So I think
Because the
speak
shame,
up
a
about
lot
it.
of women feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
They feel too shamed, or they feel scared to even, because they know that it's going to be a big problem, especially if this is your first husband. Your
And sometimes
virginity
Yeah.
is attached to this man. It's a lot. It's a big
there is
deal
so
for
much,
women.
Amira, reason why women don't speak. Like you said, a sense of shame. Sometimes you don't say it because you struggle so much to get married to that person.
Yeah.
They told you no and you yet did it.
Yeah.
You have the sense as well that sometimes your family is not practicing, he is practicing. So by saying he's abusive, you might be, affecting
There's also
the image of Dean.
financial lock.
Yeah.
Like some women, they
True,
actually rely so much. They think that their income is coming from the husband, the risks from the husband. So like
Subhanallah,
when they
that's
do
very
get abused
true.
and they do get, I don't know, beaten
Yeah.
or whatever it is,
This-
they
they
can't
stay.
leave because they think that their income is that man. So like if I was to leave with the
Yeah.
kids, what would I feed them? Where would I go?
Subhanallah.
Where would I
would you
stay?
go?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they have
it's
a,
very true.
it's like a holistic abuse. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's
Or
not
the
just
state
Well,
you
abuse is an
sometime.
umbrella term
Yeah.
for a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of things, and a lot of things comes under it, like emotional abuse,
Financial,
financial,
emotion,
And sometimes,
all
like
these things.
like you said, is the fear of the statue of being a divorcee in the
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
because you will always be blamed. Even if you tell them the horror you had to go through, you always maybe play the game, like you play the role, like you must have done something to make him
Yeah,
angry.
what was
You
it?
must have. There is nothing. Let me tell you, and from someone that went through it, and like the worst is not the abuse, is how you denormalize it. Listen very carefully. That was the hardest part for me. It was to understand it wasn't normal. It wasn't acceptable. It
Yes.
wasn't okay
Yeah.
in no cases. And I was finding issues in my marriage more than physical abuse. When actually this should have been like my first red flag, like the one like you leave or you bring people in. No, it was other issues. So in a way, maybe due to the childhood, maybe due to our community, I did normalize it. And part of the healing is not just like stopping the abuse, is accepting that this has happened to you and this will never happen again. And this is not acceptable. You have to convince yourself of those things. You didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Because they made you think like you deserved it, but you didn't.
Yeah.
And it's all about the healing
And I
part
think
that we
that's
should.
really important for
Yeah.
the viewers, for anyone who is
You're
going
not
through that.
responsible.
It's not your fault. You are in control of yourself, and you cannot control somebody else's actions. They have to be
No
in
matter
control
what you
of
did,
that.
no matter what you said. Because
Yeah.
sometimes they're going, but it's you.
It doesn't
You triggered
warrant
me with that word. No, no, no.
abuse.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable.
Definitely.
And brothers should be here saying that, not sisters.
Yeah.
And,
True.
Yeah.
And the women should feel secure to go to the brothers, right?
Yeah.
Like if your husband's abusing you, you should feel secure to go to the local mosque and speak to the imam, say, this is what's happening.
Well,
And
say,
the
be
imam should
patient.
hold that man
Yeah.
accountable, or do something.
Yeah.
But you feel like the women don't feel a sense of security when they go to these leaders,
They
right?
don't
These
feel listened
figures.
to,
So I feel like if we felt safe to go, for example, to the mosque, that they would actually do something about it, more women would go.
Yeah.
They'd go.
Definitely. Well,
We did
I
cover a few
think
points.
we've
mashallah.
covered a
A
few
lot.
points, and I
Quite a
think
lot.
what we can take away from that is, if you are looking to get married, you are wanting to get married, do the work. The self-work is so important. If you can do premarital counseling or premarital, just advice from the elders or
the
whatever it is,
classes, whatever.
do that. And if you are in a situation of abuse, there will be some links below in the description that can support
And don't forget
you.
the hand movement.
Yeah,
it's true. It's
exactly.
True.
But
Like,
and to the men who are subjecting women to abuse, like
fear
you should
Allah.
be ashamed of yourself and you should fear Allah.
And then go to the
And,
healing, because
yeah,
something
and
is
heal
broken in those
yourself.
men.
Something is not right. And
Yeah.
if you're gonna cause more hurt to that woman and you're gonna continually treat her like that, just leave her.
No,
Yeah.
either heal,
Yeah.
either like deal with it, because that's your issue, that's not hers.
Yeah.
But the damage, wallahi, if they just knew
Yeah.
the damage they do, sorry, yeah,
the damage that they do,
it's a big damage.
It's painful because, especially with this example, he's doing this in front of their child. Oh, damn. Oh.
It can be very traumatic for the sister or for the child, and they need to do so much healing to understand that. Sorry.
It's okay. Oh.
Oh, now you're gonna start
I
me
wasn't
now.
ready
Don't
for
Yeah,
that.
start.
no,
Sorry.
me too.
No,
But
But
no,
it is,
I
you're
just think
right.
about those young
It's
kids,
not
like
just with you, it goes on.
with the
It's
kids.
psychological abuse, right?
yeah,
Your whole networking, your whole neural networks in your brain change.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
you're
just
wiring.
like
Yeah, absolutely.
you can just like once the abuse is done. No, it's not.
No,
That woman carries it on.
she
She'll
carries
pass
it
it on to her
on.
children. Those children
Yeah.
will pass it on to her, the next. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just, it's not just the action of I left a mark.
Yeah.
You didn't just leave a physical
No,
mark. You
it's
left
the
an
you left
impression.
emotional one,
You
yeah.
left something deeper
Especially
than that.
for a child that is not able to process what is happening.
Yes.
And he's maybe normalizing it. Maybe later, maybe the boy will reproduce like what he saw.
Yes.
And maybe the girl
The
will
cycle
take
just
it
continues.
And you will carry
Yes.
that sin.
You
You will carry
carry
that
it,
sin
yeah.
for
Yes,
teaching.
because especially for example, if you treat the mother of your daughter like this,
Yeah.
your daughter now grows up and
Yeah.
now she
She
has no
accepts.
respect or love for herself,
Or
and
either
she's
she's
now
angry
in the
at men.
streets
Yeah.
and she's now looking for comfort in men.
Yeah.
It's a huge cycle, and guess
Yeah.
what? You bear that
Yeah.
sin. You do bear that sin. And
So I just
subhanallah,
encourage my brothers to heal.
yes,
That's all.
heal and hold each other
Yeah,
accountable.
accountable.
Brothers need to hold each other accountable and like stop going to these podcasts like Fresh and Fit. It's a poison.
Fresh and Fit is a poison.
It's a poison. Don't even
Is it
watch
Islamic? Sorry, I don't know
those
about
No,
that.
they
See,
are
I don't
Islamic.
know.
It's based in
not.
Miami, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're Miami girls.
Yeah.
And they're kind of trying to get the feminism out of them. That's
Yes.
the main.
It's just
yeah.
I don't get it.
It's
Why
just a
brothers will
pile
watch
of rubbish,
that?
to
Like,
be
what do you
honest with you.
expect? You get to Jannah by
It's
watching
very
that?
popular.
Yeah, it's very popular. It's just a
Okay.
bunch of rubbish, and just stay away from that because it's just not gonna do
Make
anything.
you a better
If
Muslim.
you want to be a better Muslim, you have the guide, you have the
Yeah.
primary source, the beautiful Quran. You don't need anything else other than that. But as you can see, we got emotional here, and alhamdulillah,
And it's all
a
about being raw
goodness.
and about
It's-
being
yeah,
real, and it's okay.
It's all good, and we learn from it, and we want to be better, and we want our community to be better. So inshallah, you've benefited from this episode or anything that we've said, and Assalamu alaikum wa
Wa alaikum
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Sorry, can I have a tissue? Yeah. No, I didn't expect it at all. Sorry.
I could see it coming in you. I
It's
could see it in
yeah.
your
I was
eyes.
trying.